So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our morning Dharma reflections. Just want to double check all the audio here. Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. Okay. So we'll begin with the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs. So good morning. As Jin Shi mentioned yesterday, we just finished our 3-month retreat on December 18th, Saturday. And I thought of sharing a little bit from that day that I felt was very moving. So you can picture our final circle in the evening, around 7:30 p.m. And all the men sat together with a little mandala in the center. It's a kind of a electric candle and some tiles that were gifted to us from Nippon, from service space. And so we all sat there kind of as the final time together in this kind of circle for these 3 months. And Jin Wisher and myself had reflected on what would be a good activity for us to kind of conclude this pretty intense experience for everyone. I think everyone learned a lot, including Jin Wisher and myself. How to live in community, how to treat each other with kindness, how to listen to each other, how to communicate, how to be of real service. And so there was an activity that I learned from a DRBU student called It's All True. It's all true. And what's the activity? Well, you essentially have a half circle and you have one person sitting in front with their back to everyone else. And then one by one, each person shares what they appreciate about the person, what they admire about the person. And the emphasis is on really focusing on something that's from our experience, something we saw, something we felt, and not just have it at the level of kind of judgments, like he's really nice or he's really good. But share, when he helped me take you could say, envelopes to the post office to mail to my friends and loved ones when I didn't have the time, I was really grateful. And even afterwards, he, volunteered to pay for the postage. And although I'm not so able to just receive that so easily, I realized it made him so joyful to give, and so I accepted his offer with a lot of gratitude. Right? So sharing from the heart of our experience. And it's quite powerful because one by one, each person shares, and we almost get a kind of panoramic view of ourselves. And usually, and the reason why we're kind of sitting with our back facing everyone, because it's kind of uncomfortable. If somebody praises you, usually our response is say, no, you must be talking about somebody else. Or no. Actually, it wasn't me who did it, it was somebody else who did it. It's not so easy to receive praise. Something in our system tries to push it away. Maybe it's because we know that taking in praise can be poisonous if we identify with it and make it part of who we think we have to be and have all these expectations for us. So we kind of push it away. Or we're afraid to be seen as prideful or arrogant. So we go, no. Right? Or maybe we do take it in. Oh yeah, I'm so great. And it just ends up feeding our ego. So with the back facing everyone, the pressure of having to appropriately respond to the praise is kind of removed. And you can just hear it, almost like in meditation. Hearing how the body feels when somebody sends their appreciation, or how the heart feels. And so we began, and I won't share every detail because we don't have that much time. So I just share from my perspective. So first, just to make it more Buddhist, I said rather than saying it's all true, so that's what we'll say at the end, you could say it's all true in a certain sense from people's experience. That's really what people experienced. Right? I don't have to make an identity. So, okay, Jin Shi began. So he sat in the front. And so what is it that I shared about Jin Shi? I shared about how much I valued his friendship as somebody who listens to me, you could say almost all the time. Whenever we have a project that we have to do, even if it's late at night, or have a worry about something in the monastery, or concern about another person, you can always count on him to have an empathic ear, to listen to me without judgment, and give me encouragement and support. And oftentimes share things from another perspective that kind of opens my heart and opens my mind. So what I really valued was his friendship and his caring presence. And then, we go around, right, one by one. So then the Oshika shares, and then Jaski shares, and then Simon shares, and then Alex shares, and then Jin Shi turns around, and all he can say is, "It's all true." And then he sits back down. The next person goes up. The Oshika who came from China after a long, patient wait to get here. And I shared my appreciation for his sense of responsibility. That when something needs to be done, he will really take care of it. I think Jin Wei shared that particularly. And that he does things in appropriate way. That he knows what the context is and will do the quote-unquote right thing. I remember when we were having the first ceremony in the beginning around putting up the memorial plaques for those we cared about. As a Jin Wei and myself went at the very end to put our plaques up. As we recited the Buddha's name, or Medicine Master Buddha's name. And I was struck that when I got to the kind of the dedication of merit plaque board, there were 4 spots left empty for Jin Wei and myself to put up each of our 2 paiways. Because if it was just myself, I think I would probably just instinctively just put my name on the top, just kind of in this order. But he has this kind of panoramic awareness of the monastery and being respectful to the monastics. So he left just 4 spaces for Jin Wei and myself to put up our plaques for those we cared about. And that's just a very small kind of gesture, but I see that pervading throughout the activities that he does. And so for me, what I feel is a kind of inner stability, that I can relax, knowing that he's around, taking care of things in the background, often unseen. And then we went around and he shared. Oh, the other thing was that Yoshika was very according. That was his intention for the retreat, according, sway, with, whatever happened, he would accord with it. And he didn't know maybe that he would be severely tested during this retreat. That given, coming from a more traditional Chinese background, with time spent in, say, more traditional Chinese monasteries, he came to this retreat, which Jin Wei and myself are, heavily influenced by Western culture. And all these circle sharings and activities is, at True Suchness Monastery, you don't have all the monks with the lay people sitting in a circle sharing their feelings. I promise you, right? There's a very strong sense of hierarchy and a propriety. But here there's a sense of maybe more equality here in the West. And so even this final circle, he said, it was not what I expected. I thought we were going to do what Jin Chuan had done previously a few days ago about asking for forgiveness and repenting. This is the exact opposite of what I expected. I had prepared a repentance, and here we're sharing about appreciation. Wow, this is completely opposite of what I expect. But he gives it a try still, gives it a go. He doesn't just get frustrated and say, I'm not doing this is too much. So I really appreciated his willingness to try out new things. And for me, that's a bridge. He's a bridge for those who have similar backgrounds as him. Those, from instance, in China who might be interested in coming to the West to cultivate, to be able to bridge over into Western culture. Also a bridge for our laymen. I can see for the laymen who are in their 40s, 50s, maybe even, early 60s. They look at him as a bridge to say, wow, look at him. He's doing this practice, fully immersed in the monastery, really transforming himself. Maybe I can too. maybe I can do more than just come on the weekends and practice. Maybe I can do this full time. And also a bridge to the rest of the RBA, because many of our monasteries are predominantly Chinese or Asian culture. And so his reflections and his contributions adds that dimension to our overall experience. I realize it's time. I haven't gone through all the people, so maybe I'll continue in the future reflections. But I actually thought, interesting enough, there were actually many tears. I cried actually quite a bit when people were sharing about me. Unexpected. And I realized that somehow when people really share their heartfelt appreciation, something in our heart melts and opens up. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if in our communities or in our families that we take the time just to say with everyone, maybe mom and dad, our siblings, our immediate family, we just down, can we do an activity called It's All True? And so often we spend our time criticizing each other, looking at each other's faults and problems, or gossip about each other, about this person's no good or that person's has this problem. But how often do we actually just sit down and just say, I really want to share with you why you make a difference in my life, why I feel joyful to know somebody like you. And to do that as a group, so it's witnessed by everyone. I think it's actually quite powerful, kind of way to not just, you can say great good feeling, but in a certain sense, foster a kind of inner confidence in ourselves. To say, you know what? Actually, there's many things that I'm doing that are contributing to other people's lives. And not to identify with it. That's why I think it's important to have meditation practice. It's not to identify it and create an ego around it, but to relax into it and open our hearts to it. And say, wow, these are the ways I can truly be of service to living beings, to those I care about. And almost to take it as a learning opportunity. These are the ways I can be of deeper service. Right? So rather than attach to it and puff myself up, to actually hold it gently and take it as a place to serve. So maybe I'll just share that much for today, and maybe you could try yourself. This activity, it's all true. If you don't have the opportunity to do it with your family or friends in person, you can just do it for yourself. Find your journal and just write for each person in your life that's close to you. What do you really appreciate about them? What are you truly grateful for? Don't just have it be judgments, but really try to find specific experiences and tune into our heart. Okay, so maybe just that much for this morning, and then we'll do 3 steps, 1 bow. And another thing I really appreciate for all the men is that they used to help with all the technology, and so now I have to help out with technology and bowing and the various other things. Okay, wish everyone well.